And as mentioned, it's becoming more and more common for people to tread multiple career paths, and comedian Norah Young is another one of them. While she's busy in the daytime leading a startup, she's also making people laugh on weekends with her well-rehearsed jokes. She shared with us that she welcomes negative moments in life as they are being used for her onstage acts. Talk about tackling bad experiences by turning them into positive ones. Well done, Norah.
Hi everyone, my name is Norah. I'm a stand-up comedian and a CMO to a startup in my 30s. During the daytime, so I work in the branding part of a company, and then so it's just like usual branding stuff, like work on the branding strategy, also the marketing strategy, and also the whole promotion campaign, and that's my daytime job. Weekend is definitely a high time for comedy shows, so usually for Friday night, from Friday night to Saturday evening, I will do maybe 3 to 5 shows, per week. The show is about to get started, and I'm very, very pumped to start tonight.
Put your hands together for the one and the only Norah Young!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys doing? Good? Yeah. Oh, not very good. Okay.
Back in 2016, I was in Hong Kong, and I was watching a stand-up comedy show in English with my friends. And then there was this white comedian, male comedian. I was the only Chinese audience at the time, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do a stereotypical jokes about Chinese people." I was typically at that time, so I was roasting him back in person. People was circling us, and then they were applauding me for roasting him. And then the comedian was like, "Oh, you are talented. How about coming to the open mics and try yourself?" So I moved back to Shanghai, and I did my first open mic ever in English.
If you understand what I've just said, 100%, clap your hands. Some people are like, "Oh no, clap my hands."
When I'm doing material in English, it will be a lot of cultural difference or cultural conflicts of jokes. But in Chinese, of course, the thing will be more relatable to Chinese audience. For example, as a woman, I'll be facing pressure of, getting into marriage. I cannot duplicate 100% of Chinese jokes into English ones or vice versa. I have to just develop 2 sets of jokes that really take up a lot of time. And then also it kind of made me feel like I'm having actually 3 jobs, the daytime job, the Chinese jokes job, and the English joke job. I started to lose confidence in finding a balance in my life. I'm kind of squeezing all my social life down to almost 0 or very minimum. And the very reason why I still or always keeping to have a side job is because I believe comedy, if you want to live a long comedy life, you have to have a lot of input. And then the daytime job is one of my inputs. It kind of helped me to have a resonating life with the audience. And also, I do believe there's a common ground between my daytime job and stand-up, because branding and comedy is all storytelling. It's just in the form of either your product, your services, or in the form of an actual speech on stage.
在写职场这个东西，比如说你会遇到别人问你什么单身、结婚这种什么东西，你会遇到吗？
对，经常会。
是吧？
The great part of being a comedian is that comedy comes from all those negative thoughts in your life sometimes. So, for example, I had a bad fight with a taxi driver. If it's before, I'll be like, "Oh my God, my whole day is ruined." But now I'll be like, "Oh my God, that's a great material. I'm gonna roast that taxi driver and then make that into a 5 minutes joke."
So you click the buy button and she transfer you with all the money. Wow. Is that how you guys doing now? She made the decision and you pay for the result? You are a good friend. We should all have a friend like you,
It's very fortunate that I'm doing stand-up in China as a female comedian, because I think we are receiving more attention than male comedians. Female comedians, we guys get more interviews than the male comedians. Actually, in China, there are more female comedians proportionally than those in Western countries. For example, the ratio in China could be, 30 to 70, female to male. But then in US, when I was performing, it was 1 to 9. But the low part, I think, is when I first joined the industry, I remember in the first year, I got 2 or 3 very harsh questions, all from the insiders. The first one is like, oh, like, you are a female comedian. Are you single? If you continue to do stand-up, you will never be able to find a partner. You will be ending up dying alone. That was a shocking news to me as a newcomer in the industry. And then he was like, because no one loves a very talky person. We all want that as a friend, but we don't want it as a wife. And then the second thing, you are a female comedian, but you're not pretty enough. I was like, stand-up is all about words, right? You just talk. But that person is, but this is the entertainment industry. All we look for is looks. But then when the industry is evolving, luckily I see that more people are accepting this form of art, and a lot of female comedians coming out, and they don't really strike people with amazing looks. They just show their true self and then show their true reality, and people love them as who they are. The very presence of me sticking to comedy and doing it showcased that there could be female comedians, there could be Chinese comedians, and people love it and market accepted. Audience, they came to see my show and then they become a comedian or they open a comedy club in their own city. I always feel very flattered, and that kind of drives me even further down the road. I definitely want to do more shows around the world and really bring the stories outside of China and then see how that works. And then I hope that one day we can have a more thriving comedy market, so then there will be people who can just go for a full-time job without hesitating on the income aspect of life.